What up, man? What's up with all you slappers out there? Scotlings. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth, Xbox system. This one's fascinating to me because that was back when I bought a PS2, got my hands on an Xbox. So, like, basically anything back then, like, that wasn't Nintendo was, like, you're golden. So, just kind of looking for new games back then. I go into Best Buy and I'm just like flipping through the stuff and I run across this obscure game. It's not so obscure with me because it's like, yeah, you know who the author is and what he did and how much he means to you. By that I mean me, okay? One of the originators of true horror. A lot of people launched off of that. Whether they want to admit it or not, that's like what it is. So it caught my attention and I'm looking at the case and it's like all dark and dirty and grimy. The screenshots, not the case. I mean, it is now. I got like cans and bottles sitting on the case. But this is another masterpiece and we're going to go over it. Yes, sirree. Once again, Oregon weather, make up your fucking mind for once. It appears to be nice, but like the clouds were saying, like, I'm gonna fist fuck you later. Just get to the fisting. All right, man, I'm gonna hop out the whip. Let's do this. And bring the bourbon this time. Mill City, Oregon. I'm down at what was once known as Remines Pond. Let's get a little view here of the burnt down majestic mountains. I guess the one thing that's a given when nature's going to rebuild, it's going to be alfalfa. Still pretty. After all these years and everything I've been through and done to people. So, yeah. First person shooter. Stealth game. Well, it's got those. It has a sanity system, which it didn't create. We're looking at, not too many predecessors that had that. I'm just losing the title for, what is it, like the GameCube? With the thing where you go back in history and like you start losing your mind and like these creatures come after you and things get weird and twisted. But it's nothing like this one where it's just like straight up like set the controller down, go do something else after a while because it's so creepy, scary, and fucked up and all that stuff, right? That's what we like here when we explore Oregon. Horrific stuff, apparently. Where you at? You're back, like, early 19th century, 20th century. New England? Or is it even that yet? Like, yeah. Right there on the East Coast. So I think it's New England. It's a fishing town you're in. You play a detective. You're going through all that earlier bullshit before you get to the good stuff, which is like World Wars and stuff. Or maybe World War I already happened. It may have, but I think the events are so close that it either happened or it's going to happen, because you run into NPCs that are clearly in World War I garb. At least to me, I'm not seeing anything that's like more advanced where it gets to World War II. Me, not sure of myself, or certainly not committal to anything. Non-committal, that's my new middle name. But H.P. Lovecraft, a lot of people consider him the GOAT. This is based off of some of his stuff. You got the Fishmen. The artwork on the case clearly depicts like a fishman, at least like in like an early stage of transformation. Now, Cthulhu doesn't show up in this one. And before people are like, oh man, I want a Cthulhu. Well, you're going to get Cthulhu type of monsters. You're getting Dagon. And Mother Hydra. So, yeah, you're in good hands with all that. And those are boss fights, with Mother Hydra being the last one, which is like by far one of the hardest boss fights I've ever endured, and maybe once or twice triumphed over. But we'll get to stuff like that, I suppose. So overall, it is like a stealth-based game. But this one, it has like a clunky feature where like if you click down on like the left stick, it'll put you into like this stealth mode where you can't really move, but you can peek around corners like safely, and the AI isn't going to notice you. I don't know, man. For a stealth game, that just seems like you're fucking around with that, devs. You can do a little bit better than that. And so you never really use it. Or at least I didn't. Like, maybe I should have. Because there is a ranking system. Like, yeah, you need to do stuff. You need to, like, not save as much as you would. You can't do this or that or whatever to, achieve these endings. What is it, like the 100%, like, mythos rank? There's different difficulty settings, I think. But if there were, they're all like hard. So, you play a detective back in like I'm guessing it's the 30s, 20s. I think the story like actually kind of overlaps these eras a little bit, because when you're first introduced to the game, you're at the end of it where you're in an insane asylum and you're trying to kill yourself by hanging, which I do believe you pull off, but I don't blame you. So it kind of queues up in the prequel level where you're getting a phone call to take on this case. You get called to this place, and it's a house full of these weirdo goons that the cops have been kind of like trying to deal with for a little bit. And it's a standoff with the police. Like, who doesn't want one of those? And, you know, they're waiting on you to come in because you're a detective, a private detective, and you crack cases, and you can interact with the NPCs in this game, like just standing around, and they have dialogue, which is friggin' awesome. I love that. And they're like, oh man, they like you, you know, because of your history. But once you get up in there, you realize you get in the house, or actually you're like making your way to the house, and like, itchy trigger fingers, and there's a firefight. And that doesn't go away until like you complete this prequel level. So you bounce up in that motherfucker. The door locks behind you, and you go in there and you're trying to like figure everything out. It's like I said, it's like a tutorial. And there's save points. It's a save point based game. And you're unraveling this awesome story. And the story like really crushes other games, like horror games, even the ones I would put before it, game-wise. Even though this is another one that I hold dearly, such an obscure game. But can it make it like into my top 5? Blah, 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 you've heard this before. So, yeah, you're playing the detective the entire game long, and you're making your way through this house with a gunfight going on, and these guys know who you are. They even talk to you a little bit, and they get blasted on by the cops below. And you go into these other rooms where they committed suicide, and you're reading these notes, and there's another room where it might be the same room in the house where there's pictures of you all over the place. So they know who you are, like you're some kind of like prophecy type of thing, which you kind of are. And it's weird because now you're bringing in like alien races that are against like these evil fish people like Dagon, Cthulhu, Mother Hydra, and the rest of them that aren't in this game, like horrific creatures that clearly inspired the greats like Stephen King. So you make your way through, and like you can see like there's experiments on people and their body parts, and it's not just humans doing that, but it's clearly like alien related. You make your way through, and eventually, like throughout all of the horror in that prequel level, which is just grimy, and God, even the prequel level could make a movie all by itself. But the alien, like the good aliens, are trying to communicate with you, like, what is it, telepathically? No, I don't even know, like, if it's that or like through your sleep, or maybe both. The hell is that? Oh, hell no. This is gonna trump my Call of Cthulhu video. What the fuck? Man, Mill City, Oregon, goddamn, I'm going back to state, motherfuckers. I'm going back to state and state and state and... Fuck! You know, Back when this was a pond and people were coming down here doing whatever, tweaking and shit. I remember those days when I was smoking weed, drinking beer, like today. But I was never sick and deranged like this. What the fuck? Yeah. See, it's not just me. It's you too. God, really? Really? Another slogan for a t-shirt? What is this? So we'll go around. If I can. Anyways, like, that experience is enough to, like, put you over the edge. The story's kind of convoluted where, like, the future versus the past. I guess this is a dump. Some things never change. Like my eyes, still pretty and stuff. Get Carter, Mickey Rourke, Sylvester Stallone. Still pretty? Yeah. Like cat piss in the snow. Disney, we're not gonna make another Marvel movie without those guys. We need like fucking testosterone big guys. I don't give a fuck how old they are. They'll kick the shit out of you fucking little yacht owning pussy bitches. I'm having fun now, huh? Hurricane, slurricane. Don't mind me. Don't feel bad about me. You know how I'm feeling right about now. Yeah, so you play this detective, you're going to be that detective the whole game, whether it's like in the future or the past, and things are muddled, yeah, I get it, but there's no point in that game where like you're not like stuck in it, like a really good quality horror movie. And that's what I love about this one. And like Manhunt, The Suffering, you know, Doom 3. Once again, fuck you Doom motherfuckers that love anything else other than that one. You don't know what's up. I mean, God, it was the one that was chosen for a movie. How dope was it? You can debate that, but I don't know. I just don't know. It's hard to tell. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth. Let's come back to that. So the stealth mechanics are sus. Got my nephews in my dome. They're gonna keep me younger. But really, you avoid the patrols, you can get through. I would say you can just gat them down, but the guns in this and the ammunition where you can find it, it's so sparse, like it's so hardcore that it makes hardcore mode on Call of Duty, Call of Cthulhu duty. They might as well do that, right? With Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and fucking the T-800 skin. Sloppy toppy on your end if you disagree. So, yeah. But there's like these puzzles you gotta solve, and you gotta collect these clues, and sometimes there might be a safe you have to open back in the early 1900s. But when you solve them, like, it's satisfying. The game is so effing brutal, though. It really is right there with games like what I just mentioned. Like the horror, brutality, the blood and gore. This brings like another level to it because you acquired some kind of like precognitive assistance to these advanced aliens that are on your side. They're kind of using you, though. It's like a great war against like these evil alien monster things, the polyps. And yeah, you fight them at the end, but they don't have anything to do with the story, so it's kind of like, huh? But that was still dope. Right on point. You know my terminology by now. So story-wise, like, yeah, 10 out of 10. Gameplay? I can't do that with this one, okay? Because, like, the gunplay, where hardcore mode, where there's no reticle, I was coming back to, like, the Call of Duty players with the hardcore mode. This one did that. There's, like, no point in this game, there's nothing you can do about it, where there's, like, a combat reticle with your guns. Which isn't that hardcore. If you've been playing first-person shooters for a minute, like me, or even my brother, like with Call of Duty, if he jumped in here, he might be frustrated for a second, but he's going to catch on because, God, how many first-person shooters do you play versus really anything else in your life growing up all the way through? Even if you, like, select a category you're locked into, like an RPG that doesn't have that, or blah, 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 whatever. You know, overall, like, yeah, you're going to figure that out. And you do that in this one, so it's not the end of the world. You don't have to have a gun reticle. That being said, like, I'm not sure, like the hit detection, like the hit boxes, is an issue, or if, like, they nerf the bullets or whatever, because you could be like, you could hit like a NPC, and then the next shot, like, seems like it just goes through them. But when you do kill them, it's pretty satisfying because of the voice acting, and, like, they're all, like, kind of humans turning into, like, these fishmen, and that sounds so stupid until you go up against, like, their final forms, or if you're interacting with these motherfuckers, because they don't like you at all. You're a detective coming into Innsmouth, New England, with this it's a fishing port town with a gold refinery, where, like, the fishmen and the esoteric Order of Dagon, also known as the Home Depot, RDC in Salem, Oregon. Yeah. So it's under the control of Dagon. And you find out later on Mother Hydra is, like, really what's up. So you get to explore, like, the main hub at the beginning, which is Innsmouth. You get to do that for a while, and then the maps change, and you don't ever come back to there. It's not like Ninja Gaiden Black, which is beholden to me. We're going to get to that one too. That's another one that's like, fuck your top 5. This one's squeezing in, motherfucker. Bounce out something. But the main hub at the beginning is so sick because you're exploring Innsmouth, and, you know, there's mysteries and blah, 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 blah. And eventually, like, you grow tired, you need to go to sleep. So you go to this inn, and they're plotting and scheming against you. They don't like you at all because you're nosing around. So they're going to take you out. And what I loved about this experience was you get this room, hotel room. You go up in that motherfucker. And the game won't let you rest on the bed until you lock the doors to give you a self of comfort. When you do that, it cuts to like another scene, like a dream you have with the aliens that kind of gave you your gifts and they're still kind of communicating with you. And the Innsmouth half fish people, they're coming for you with axes and they're cutting through the doors. And there's a sequence I'll never forget. It's trial and error. A lot of people don't like that. I really don't like it either when you can't save anywhere. But I did appreciate what they did with this. And I know why devs choose save points versus doing what you want. To an extent, I'm not like a gamer guy that does all that. I wouldn't mind doing that. But what is it? Like they're hacking through your hotel room door and you get up and the adjacent door will let you through into the next one and there's latches. So if you open up the door, slam it shut and run, they'll get through it and get you. But if you bolt it, you're buying yourself time, right? And like I said, it's trial and error because you get to the next room and they're coming through that door. But if you like shove a shelf in front of the door, they can't really get through it. But they will get through the door behind you if you don't move your ass. And then you shove another shelf away and you expose another door into the next room. And if you don't nail all that, they're going to hack you up and you got to start over. It's tedious. But the subject matter is so awesome that you're going to do it again. Because who doesn't want to get hacked up like over and over again by axes? Please, oh please, let me catch one on my collarbone. So yeah, once you get it right, like there's like a window where you open up the windows and you can actually jump across to the next building section, like an apartment structure, housing. Everything's decrepit, everybody's dying and like rotten from disease and you name it. People are screaming as you're running through and these guys don't let up. They're coming after you. It's an entire sequence, like the whole time, like blood is replaced by air in your heart. It's just pumping it out so much. And once you pull it off and you get to the next section and you save, like, man, I would say go buy a beer, but if you have enough money, buy the fucking beer company. You're going to need that shit for this one. No cocaine on this one. Don't do it. I don't care what kind of shape you're in. So you get out of there. They kind of know it or whatever, but they don't want to admit it because not everybody there is like fish people yet. And even though it's like the esoteric order of Dagon, they're still finessing shit a little bit. So the story, like what led up to there is like whatever. But level designs all the way through are fucking sick and enthralling. It keeps you in that story. It keeps you from shutting it off and grabbing a novel. Or Netflix, whatever streaming thing you want to do. That's what it was like designed to do. So you're unraveling this magnificent story. And this game does things other games just doesn't. Like peculiar things. Like you'll trigger things and you'll figure it out what triggers it. But like the full-blown fishmen, they're like some of the scariest motherfuckers ever. Like I was talking about The Suffering and Stan Winston's creatures and the creature effects. Well, this would rival them, and these things would probably toast anything out of that. They're big like the Hulk, and you got fucking claws, and they're like fishmen that come out of the depths, you know. And there's sections in the game. There's a game where you get picked up on a boat and a Navy vessel, and they have no beef with you once they figure out who you are and what's going down. But they get attacked by the fishermen. They're not coming after them. They're coming after you because you're special. You've been kind of like touched by their arch nemesis, which are these like good aliens, if you will. I'm not so sure about that, but whatever. And this level I'm talking about is different than escort missions, because like in certain escort missions, they all suck, but this one sucks even more because you're escorting somebody that's injured, and you can only they move like hella slow, and they're slower than the fishermen that are coming up that'll kill them and you. Game over. Load your last checkpoint. So the whole thing is designed to be nail biting and like the last second type of shit to pull it off, where you're latching bolts. Because you don't have a lot of ammo, man, and you run out of that, and it's no guarantee you're going to hit those motherfuckers anyways, because of the hitbox or whatever's going on there. Like, they nerf the bullets. But, so the fishmen are terrorizing in this game, and they will always be, like, all the way, like, to, like, the last level, the air-filled tunnels, which is so sick. Because now you're entering where the FBI like assists you to an extent. They beat the shit out of you. They don't like you at all, but they force you to help them out. And there's like a gold refinery with like the fishermen, and that's one of the most brutal, hardcore levels you'll ever play. It's so long, and it introduces like a Shoggoth. I love names like that. Like a slimy blob, tentacled thing. Unbelievably acidic. And it's like they, how many different segments was that? Like 4? And they chopped it up where that thing, like, when you think you got rid of it or defeated it, it's still coming after you. And once again, it's kind of like, you can't really defeat it. It's like, run, shut the doors and bolt them before it bursts through, just to give you a little bit more time to proceed and get past it. Trial and error stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of being forced into that. I'm not saying this game has like the greatest like gameplay conceivable, but it does the trick with the combat and the stealth to keep you immersed in what's important, the storyline. And the story progresses, and you get melee weapons, and you get like puzzle melee things or puzzle items to help you progress. Nothing new there. The graphics are gritty and grimy, like on purpose, which, helps cover up a lot of like blemishes or whatever you don't have time for, like as a dev, when it's like code and all this stuff. Or maybe that's their excuse, but it worked for me. So the dark nature, like how grim everything is. Any NPC that's on your side usually gets smoked. And you are connected to like these alien beings that know all this stuff, and they're pumping information in your brain. And if like everything you saw before didn't drive you mad, like that enough is like gonna do the trick. I'm gonna go back through here. You might take like another route. here or there. Once again, beautiful day in Oregon. Just choppy weather. And what I mean by that is kind of like what I was like saying the other day, like fireballs from volcanoes and like fucking ice fields of Hoth. You can get it. So the stealth in it isn't that great. We covered that. But I mean, if you watch the enemy patrols, you'll figure it out. You can use like the little gimmicky stealth thing, but it sucks. The weapons, largely, like, you know, you get the Tommy gun. It's like, it's so jittery, like, nah. You get pistols, you know, hand-loaded clips, revolvers. They're all right. But really, it's just kind of looking at what is in front of you and dealing with it outside of necessarily what the devs design it to be. Jeez. That doesn't sound too right for a game I fucking love. So you fight Dagon on that naval vessel after you get through and like solve all the puzzles, and like pretty much everybody's dead, and you're like launching missiles at them and stuff, and you take them down, and it's rigorous. But once you do it, like, okay, what's next? Well, yeah, now you're getting towards kind of the end game. And you find out that these fishmen that are like transforming over time, they're not in agreement or alignment with each other necessarily, because there's like the religious aspect, which holds because there's spells and incantations and magic and stuff. And then there's the guy that isn't quite morphed into them, that doesn't believe it. And you actually witness a scene between like the two main guys. And they tried to kill each other because at that point, the United States military is attacking this place off the coral shelf on the east coast of like New England. Because you help let them know what's going down, so they're attacking. And they're launching missiles like from submarines. But Mother Hydra and her chanting and her disciples chanting their spells are keeping all of that at bay. And it also keeps the air-filled tunnels full of air, because if that goes down, the shields all go down and it's flooded. So that was a pretty cool moment in like gaming history for me, where these two are going at it over like religious reasons. And the non-believer tries to kill the main guy. Didn't work. He gets smoked. And at that point, you're overseeing that, and you fall through this tunnel where you're looking down at the whole thing. And the wounded guy that's left over, it's a boss fight. And he'll fuck you up. It's so frustrating. But it's kind of a puzzle, and once you figure it out, you move on. And then you start getting your kit back, your weapons and whatever. And there's an interesting sound, music-wise, sound-wise, where you trigger something and it's like this eerie little sound that you really wouldn't pay too much attention to. But once you figure it out, you need to, because they're spawning like the full-blown fishmen, which still sounds stupid, but you play this game, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. They're vicious and cutthroat. They'll do you a treat, laddie. So it's like, oh man, do I fight these things, or I just kind of run off and like, because you can like, you know, you can game the AI in this, like a lot of games, and you might not necessarily have to deal with them. so you can get past them, but you can also like smoke them if you got the guns and ammo. But it just puts you on edge, and like I said, like you're in prison on that level, and you got to get your kit back through all of that. So the storyline is friggin' awesome. I mean, it's just you're playing a horror movie. It's kind of clunky with the controls and stealth and like the combat, but it's not enough where like, man, fuck this, I'm gonna play something else. You're not gonna put this down, not if you love horror. So the last level, you know, the air-filled tunnel, so friggin' awesome. It's a big level, but when you get to the end, it's Mother Hydra, and there she is in all of her glory, and she's gigantic, kind of like you know, like the Metroid bosses. That's what it reminded me of. She's huge, and she's doing the chanting with her minions to keep like the shields up, and she has a shield on her where you can't phase her. But because you've been touched by this alien race, you can access the minds of the fishmen. And I'm not going to go over like everything you got to do to spawn them to get this done. I beat the game like one time, and I gave up every other time on this level. It's not that fun. But how many end bosses in a lot of games are? I'm starting to wonder. But what you got to do is you got to possess 4 fishmen, inhabit their bodies, jump up on these structures, and basically hit these switches where water comes down into Mother Hydra, like it forms like a pool. And once you get all 4, which is damn near fucking impossible, you get that done, then you can take, you know, you got this alien weapon that's kind of electric, shoot it into the water, it electrocutes her, and she falls over. And it kind of sounds silly, but when you pull that off in the animation, that big fucking evil, horrific monster bitch falls over, it's like, yes. You can't really do that in movies. These are like interactive movies where you pull that shit off. I think I got it one time. I know I did it one time, maybe 2. But after that, like the whole thing, like she's dead and there's no more chanting. So our military doesn't know that though, and they really don't know you're in there or what the hell's going on. So now it's their opportunity to blow the whole thing up, and that's what they're doing. So now you only have a little bit of time to get the fuck out of there. So if you're diligent and you're moving through the level, you can get through all of that. I think it will kill you with like the boulders falling down or whatever if you don't keep moving and figure it out. But overall, like shit. It's kind of a cheesy little epilogue to get out of there, which you do. And then the ending picks up where the beginning picks up, where you're in that insane asylum where you've been writing stuff down in your notebook about the dark corners of the earth. Because at the end of the day, when you handled all that shit, you went fucking crazy. They locked you up. They don't believe you. And you commit suicide. But there's your spiral-bound notebook with like everything like you were talking about. So cool. I don't know another game like it, like anywhere. And a lot of that's because of the shortcomings, like on the stealth and combat. But it did something right with that. Like you didn't hate it. You didn't have to work with it. It like worked in the system. So normally I would wrap this up, but I got to go to like at least one specific kill scene, and we're talking horror. So you can kind of see through other people's eyes because of what the aliens did to you. In that Marsh refinery level, where you're going in with FBIs to raid this place and take them down, they kind of know you're coming in there. you know, there's a firefight from the jump, duh. But there's a point where you're going up this conveyor belt that's shut off, so you're just running up it. Where's my feet at? And then you're going up it, and it cuts to like these in-between fishmen grabbing one of the agents, and you can see through the agent's eyes. This is like seriously fucking deranged, dude. Like I don't even know what to say, like devs. But you see through the eyes, and there's like two of them. They have a hold of this FBI agent. He's bound up. They're carrying him. He's gagged. And they throw him into the rock crusher. And you run up on that conveyor belt right when his remains are coming through. And it's unbelievably brutal and disgusting. Like, completely crushed, like fucking intestines and gore flowing through there. Now, the insanity system, which isn't necessarily unique, but it wasn't like played out by that era standards at all. If you look at something that's fucked up, it'll hit you negatively, and your character can actually kill himself during the game. If you have a gun, you'll blast yourself. If you don't, you'll like claw and strangle yourself. It's fucked up shit. So it's weird because you want to see the cinematics the devs built in, like these gruesome cinematics, but you're not going to make it all the way through if you do. So there's replay value, right? Like, look at them first a little bit, you know, on the easier settings, but when you're serious, don't look at it. So that system isn't in some of my favorite horror games like Manhunt and The Suffering and whatnot. Doom 3, which I'm going to get to Doom 3, and God, I'm going to love that one, because I'm going to burn you fucking Doom lover fucking cunts. But yeah, man. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth, even if Cthulhu isn't in it. It's what's up. It's an older game, Xbox game. No backward compatibility. Sorry, guys. Is that even on PC? What isn't, right? But geez, it's so obscure. And if I hadn't flipped through whatever's going on back then at Best Buy, back when you could buy digital, or not, you know, everything's digital now, hard copies, we wouldn't be talking about this. And it cracks me up that it's obscure, because H.P. Lovecraft is pretty much the GOAT. I love Stephen King. He is the GOAT. But you're also like basing shit off your predecessors a little bit, and King has referenced him so much in his works. I mean, Crouch End and, you know, Dreamscapes and Nightmares, or whatever the fuck it was called. I mean, there's tons of references to that. Like, who are we to hate on that? Like, why would he hate on anything when he loves him to begin with? I don't know. But yeah, man. Call of Cthulhu, Dark Corners of the Earth, Xbox. Check it out, man, if you love like horror stories. Man, I'm leaking out my nose and stuff. Jeez. It's like cold here. Oregon weather. Not figuring it out. But it's not raining on me. All right, man. See you guys.